Hello and welcome back to Intellify. My name is Yash and in this video we will be discussing Class 12 Politics in India since Independence, Chapter number 4 India's External Relations. And now we are going to discuss the last question number 10 of this chapter. So let's have a look. Question number 10 says, read the passage and answer the questions below. The passage reads, broadly, non-alignment means not trying yourself off with military blocks. It means trying to view things as far as possible, not from the military point of view, though that has to come in sometimes, but independently, and trying to maintain friendly relations with all the countries. This was said by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. The first sub question is, why does Nehru want to keep off military blocks? Second sub question is, do you think that the Indo-Soviet Friendship Treaty violated the principle of non-alignment? Give reasons for your answer. And the third sub-question is, if there were no military blocks, do you think non-alignment would have been unnecessary? So let's look at the answer to these questions. The answer to the first question, that is, why does Nehru want to keep off military blocks, is Pandit Nehru was the chief architect of India's foreign policy principles and one of the members of NAM. Pandit Nehru defined the policy of non-alignment in the following words. When we say a policy is one of the non-alignment with other blocs, it is not a negative policy. It is a positive one, a defined one, and I hope a dynamic one. But in so far as the military blocs today and the Cold War are concerned, we do not align ourselves with either bloc. Pandit Nehru wanted to keep off military alliances because of the following reasons. The first reason given by Pandit Nehru was it was felt that India's alignment with either the US and the USSR bloc would trigger international tensions rather than promoting international peace. There was a realization that India could play a positive role in reducing international tension, promoting peace, and serving up as a bridge between the two camps. Secondly, NAM suited India's present need of keeping her independent identity and sovereignty intact. Like any other sovereign country, India had just become independent and wanted to retain and exercise independence of judgment. That is, India wanted freedom to decide on every issue of its merit. Some more reasons given by Pandit Nehru were India had launched economic development plans and therefore needed foreign assistance. Thus, it was politically desirable not to depend upon aid from one bloc only and profitable to be able to get it from by maintaining friendly relations with both the blocs. Also, NAM was in tune with India's traditional philosophy of peace and tolerance, and that India could play a pioneer role in promoting it. Lastly, reasons also determined India's reasons for remaining non-aligned. India is surrounded by the two leading communist powers. First is China's international boundary touching its border, and the Soviet Union's boundary being around 20 miles from it. Likewise, India also shares boundary with Pakistan, which is an ally of the US bloc. A military alliance with either of the bloc was ruled out by this factor, as the impact of any war between the two blocs would have impacted India. So these were some of the reasons given by Pandit Nehru to keep off military alliances. Yes. The answer to the second sub-question, that is, do you think that the Indo-Soviet Friendship Treaty violated the principle of non-alignment? Give your reasons for this answer. The answer to this question is, in the wake of crisis in East Pakistan, India, in order to counter the close proximity of the US and Pakistan and to counter the US-Pakistan-China axis, signed the 20-year Treaty of Peace and Friendship with the Soviet Union in August 1971. Though many critics argued that India has shaded its non-aligned stand, however, it cannot be agreed upon due to the following reasons. The first reason being, As India just signed a treaty of friendship, it did not align itself with military blocs. Also, signing treaties and entering into agreements was in consonance with India's foreign policy principles. Some more reasons are that geopolitical compulsions made it imperative for India to be realistic enough and come closer to the Soviet Union. Also, India was guided by its own national security interest. The proximity of Pakistan with the US compelled India to come closer to the Soviet Union. Lastly, this definitely helped India in maintaining balance of power in the region. Okay, now we come to the last sub question, that is, if there were no military blocks, do you think non-alignment would have been unnecessary? So the answer to this sub question is, it is believed that NAM was a specific product of a specific situation. It was a reaction to the Cold War politics and to military blocs. A lot has been discussed about the relevance of NAM in the context of absence of military blocs. It is believed that NAM has lost its essence and effectiveness, but the following points will enable us to understand that its value and ideas continue to remain relevant, and that NAM also serves as a platform for newly independent countries to voice their concerns and engage in greater cooperation. The first point being, it is argued that NAM countries have worked together, speaking for the concerns of the developing world, arguing for a fairer economic share at the international forums. Secondly, the Cold War today has been replaced by more compelling and contemporary issues like terrorism, threat of nuclear warfare, human rights violation, environmental problems, or developmental issues that threaten world peace. Presently, the NAM countries can and are working together to deal with more pressing problems of the world. Also, the leaders of the developing countries have shifted the emphasis from political to economic content of the movement. A quest for the new international economic order today remains the cementing force of the NAM. The 12th and the 13th NAM summit pledged to step up South-South cooperation and North-South cooperation. And NAM has now taken seriously the question of reshaping the United Nations. The 10th NAM summit has established a high-level working group to suggest concrete proposals for the restructuring, democratization, and enhancing the effectiveness of the United Nations. The NAM summits have also stressed that the UN should care for positive transformation of the international society. Also, at the 14th NAM summit, the then Indian Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh identified that in an increasingly interdependent world, it is a challenge for the NAM to promote balance and equitable management of this interdependence of nations. Also, at the Tehran summit in 2012, the NAM members largely focused on contributing their efforts towards bringing about nuclear disarmament and strengthening peace efforts in regions torn by ethnic conflict. Lastly, I would say that the presence of 120 countries in NAM today is a testimony to the fact that NAM is not a deficient body and can play a very important role in reshaping the world. My name is Yash. Hope you understood well. Thank you.